In math today, we're going to take our ability to tell time to the nearest minute, and we're going to do another third grade skill. This third grade skill is called elapsed time. Can you say that? Elapsed time. What that means is time passes throughout the day, right? You got here at 7:35. If you're virtual, you signed in at 8:30, but time has passed since then. The hands on a clock don't stay still. They're always moving because time is passing. That's what we call elapsed time. Time is always elapsing or passing. So in third grade, you have to take your knowledge of analog clocks and you have to be able to determine how much time has passed. How much time has passed is what we're going to be talking about. So we are going to start today with this brain pop video all about time passing or time elapsing. I need to see a lot more focus from third graders who are getting ready to go into fourth grade. You shouldn't have anything in your hands because I don't. And you shouldn't be doing anything on your screen because I'm not. The only thing you're going to do is look, listen, and think about our video. If you choose to be playing with other things, that is part of your recess. I will be taking minutes today from people who are messing around. So I'm taking notes today.
I'm excited about our field trip, Moby. How long does the bus take to get to the Hall of Science? What is elapsed time? Elapsed time is the amount of time that passes between one point in time to another. Elapsed time can tell us how long it takes to get somewhere or how long something lasts. Knowing elapsed time can help us make plans and be on time. You can measure elapsed time by using a stopwatch. How long can you stand on one leg, Moby? The stopwatch counts up seconds, minutes, and even hours. Wow, you can stand on one leg for a long time, Moby. Moby, I think it's time to go now. You stood on one leg for 10 hours, 25 minutes, and 48 seconds. How can you use a clock to figure out elapsed time? The bus leaves at 9:40 and arrives at the Hall of Science at 10 o'clock. How long is the bus ride? You can use a clock to figure it out. Start at 9:40 and then count up by fives until you get to 10 o'clock. 5, 10, 15, 20. The bus takes 20 minutes to get to the Hall of Science. Cool! There's an electricity show at 10:30. What time is it now? It's 10:08. How much time do we have until the show? I can count up 2 minutes to get to 10:10. That's an easier time to work with. Now I can count up by fives until 10:30. 5, 10, 15, 20. Now add the minutes. 20 plus 2 is equal to 22. The electricity show is in 22 minutes. How can you use a chart to figure out elapsed time? The insect exhibit opens at 1:45. What time is it now? Let's see. It's 11:15. How much time do we have? You can make a chart to figure it out. You start at 11:15 and you count on 1 hour to get to 12:15. Then you count on another hour to get to 1:15. Then you count on 30 minutes to get to 1:45. Now add up all the hours and minutes. The exhibit opens in 2 hours and 30 minutes. How can you use a number line to figure out elapsed time? Look, there's a planetarium show. It begins at 11:50 and it's 35 minutes long. What time will it end? You start at 11:50 and count on 35 minutes. Let's see. I can count up 10 minutes to get to 12 o'clock. Then I can count on another 10 to get to 12:10 and another 10 to get to 12:20. I've counted up 30 minutes so far, but the show is 35 minutes long. So I need to count up another 5 minutes to get to 12:25. The show will end at 12:25. Cool, we can design our own robots. How long is the workshop? I can start at 1:10 and count up an hour to get to 2:10. Then I can count up 10 minutes to get to 2:20 and count another 10 minutes to get to 2:30. The Design a Robot workshop is 1 hour and 20 minutes long. What kind of robot are you making, Moby? That was a fun trip to the Hall of Science. Moby? Moby? Ah!
All right, join me on Seesaw, please. Should not be hearing any voices on as you click on your activity. To find our activity, you click on our math folder, which is dark blue. And today is our elapsed time introduction. Remember, this word elapsed time is part of our vocabulary. Can you figure out how much time has passed in real life? That's what we're discussing in 3rd grade. Go ahead and click Add Response to open up your task. Now that we know what elapsed time is, I'm going to show you an example in a teaching video. These problems can be very difficult if you're not paying attention. We all know how to tell time to the nearest minute, but if you don't focus, it starts to get really confusing. So let's focus our attention on this video and learn how to figure out how much time has passed.
Let's do an example together of a situation where time is passing or time is elapsing. Our problem says Mrs. Renelay wakes up at 6 o'clock a.m. 2 hours later, she is at school and working with students. This is a true fact, by the way. What time is it then? Today you will be given a situation just like this, and your job is to find out how much time has passed. So let's look more closely at our problem. Mrs. Renelay wakes up at 6 o'clock a.m. I notice my start time to the left matches what is in my story. My analog clock and my digital clock say 6 o'clock a.m. Next, I'm going to figure out how much time has passed. My story says 2 hours later. This word later is important. It tells me that time is passing, that I'm moving forward in my day. We know that there are 24 hours in a day. That word later tells me I'm going to move forward to find what time it is now. I'm going to be adding the time to my start time. My start time is 6 o'clock. And And how much time later? Oh, that's right. The text told me 2 hours later. I'm going to add 2 hours to find out what time it is now. You can line it up just like this with your ones, tens, and hundreds to determine what time it is now. Today, you're going to prove your work by showing the clock. You will match your clock to the start time. This clock says 6 o'clock. Then I'm going to show what happens when 2 hours later has passed. I can take my hour hand and move it forward in my day, adding 1 hour plus 1 more hour. Notice that your minute hand has gone around 2 whole times. 2 hours later than 6 o'clock is 8 o'clock. I can prove that by adding them together, and I can prove it on my clock. Today you are going to write the time and show a picture of your analog clock. You're going to add the picture to your Seesaw page right where the box is. Finally, I need to think about, is it AM or PM? I know that Mrs. Renelle wakes up at 6 o'clock AM, so I can think about that number line again. If Mrs. Renelle wakes up at 6 o'clock AM, that would be in the first half of our day. 2 hours later tells me we moved forward in our day. 2 hours later is still in the first half of our day. I know that it is 8 o'clock, so I can stick with 8 o'clock AM and to show my work.
All right, so we're going to do an example together, just like that. We're going to move past slide 4. We'll come back to slide 4. Slide 4 is just the example. Slide 5, we will come back to slide 5. And let's go to slide number 8. Join me on slide number 8. We're going to do just what I showed you in the video. We're going to read the situation. We're going to think about what time it starts. We can identify how much time has elapsed or passed, and we're going to prove it with our clock. Who can read the example of our situation? Day.
At 2 p.m., it took 30 minutes to finish lunch. The time was eating.
Okay, so let's highlight some of our information in our text. Annalise ate lunch at 2 p.m. So that's the start time. She started eating lunch at 2 o'clock. I noticed that on the left side, it says 2 o'clock p.m. on my analog clock and my digital clock. This is my start time. Who can identify how much time passed while she was eating lunch? How much time passed for Annalise? How long was her lunch, Kaylee?
30 minutes.
Our text says it took her 30 minutes to finish her lunch. That means if you're looking at your tool on slide 7, you can use this if you need to. If she started at 2 o'clock, that means now 30 minutes is passing. It's later in her day. She's moving forward in her day. So we're going to add 30 minutes to our start time. I want you to show me using your clock tool. Up at the right-hand corner, you have the link to our clock tool. I want you to open it up and show on your clock the start time. Our start time is 2:00 p.m. Let's do that together. First, we want to show 2:00 p.m. So I'm going to take my hour hand and move it to 2. My minute hand is at 0. 2 hours and 0 minutes. Hands up quite please. After you show your start time, I want you to show how much time has passed. Kaylee reminded us that it took Annalise 30 minutes to eat her lunch. So we need to move our minute hand 30 minutes. Let's go show that. Starting with my minute hand, I can skip count by 5s to show 30 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. Annalise ate lunch for 30 minutes. Now I can take a picture of my clock, put it on my seesaw task, right where the box is, and write what time the clock shows. I want you to finish that on your own. I'm coming around to check to see how we are doing. Slide 8, you should have recorded 2:30 p.m. because it took her 30 minutes to eat. And you should have put your picture proving it right here. Slide number 9 was a different situation. We have a boy named Timothy. He is being so naughty. He is playing his game at 11:00 p.m. I bet no one in here has ever done that. He started at 11:00 p.m. If he played for 2 hours, which is what our text tells us, 2 hours later is 1:00. And notice that on our clock, boys and girls, when you switch, when you cross over the 12 with the hour, when you cross over the 12 with the hour hand, it either switches from AM to PM or PM to AM, right? Anytime you cross over the 12 with the hour hand, it switches. So he started at 11:00 p.m. He's playing way too late at night, which means he crosses over the 12 o'clock and now he's still awake at 1 a.m. when all of God's people should be asleep.
No, on the weekends I'll be doing it.
Unless it's a holiday and you're with your family partying hard, man. Yes, Nick? Yeah, and then you're tired the next day. Yep. All right, I want you to pause there. You can finish these slides later. We're going to jump back up to slide number 5. Slide number 5 has another example, this time going backwards in our day. If you were moving ahead, you might have already started exploring these. That's okay. But I want you to focus on an example of what happens if we know what time they stop something. We have to go backwards on the clock. I'm going to play the video. I want you looking, listening, and thinking about this example. Then you can try them on your own.
Sometimes when we talk about elapsed time or time passing, we might be moving backwards in our day. Let's talk about what that means. Here we have a situation. Jackie walks her dog every day for 30 minutes. If it is 3:30 p.m. when she is finished with her walk, what time did she start her walk? When I look more closely at my problem, I see that she walks for 30 minutes. This is the time that is passing, or the time that is elapsing. My problem says if it is 3:30 p.m. when she is finished, this word finished tells me this is the end. It is 3:30 p.m. when she is done with her walk. I know that 30 minutes has passed, and that is the time it took to take her walk. So what does my problem ask me? It asks me, what time did she start her walk? I don't know what time Jackie started her walk with her dog. Today you're going to have problems like this where you will have to figure this out. When we talk about the hours in a day, sometimes we might be thinking about going backwards in our day so that we can see when something started. We might need to subtract some time to figure out when Jackie started her walk with her dog. I know that the hands on an analog clock always move clockwise, which means they go to the right. This is how the time is shown on the clock. But when we are trying to figure out when something started, we might need to move the hands backwards to figure out when something started or began. This is called counterclockwise. If we subtract 30 minutes from 3:30 p.m., what time did she start her walk? Let's look on the clock together to prove our work. Today you will start with the end time showing 3:30 p.m. and I want to take away 30 minutes. I want to go backwards in my day to see what time she started. Okay. I will take my minute hand and I will go backwards in my day by 30 minutes. I'm going to skip count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. If her walk ends at 3:30 and she walks for 30 minutes with her dog, Jackie started her walk at 3:00 p.m. Today you will take a picture to prove your work. You will put it over the box on Seesaw, and you will write your time. I know that Jackie started at 3:00, and now I need to consider if it's still PM or AM. I know that moving back 30 minutes has not gotten me to 12 o'clock, which is when it would switch to AM. So I am confident that Jackie started her walk at 3:00 p.m. in the afternoon.
All right, you have now seen all of the examples. So the rest of the time is yours until lunchtime, and then after lunch, you may do all of the slides that you have not done. Slide 15 asks you to use your mic to describe your success with elapsed time. How are you feeling about elapsed time when you get to the end of your problems? You have still some problems to work on where you have the start time and you have to find what time they finish. Then you have some problems where you have the end time and you have to find out what time they started. The rest of the work time is yours. I'll be walking around to check in on friends. You may begin your practice now. All right, friends on Zoom, your job is to complete all of the slides. A quick note, number 10, I made a mistake, so you can skip number 10. I apologize, that does not make sense. You can skip it. Your job is to do all of the slides and then reflect on slide 15. How were you successful today? How did you do with telling elapsed time? When you're done, you'll turn in with the green check to submit your work. I will be on at 12:45 if anyone has questions about their work.